Joined here with Ryan Friedman Motors, a buddy of mine that I've got to spend some time with on the road at a number of automotive events, whether it was in the Carolinas or Moda just past week.
Cavallino. Years and years, many events.
Yes, on the West Coast, East Coast, it's been awesome. I've watched you in an innovative way used social media and in a way to help grow your dealership and awareness of cars, blue chip classics, down to daily drivers like we've gotten a chance to walk around here. Talk about how you've leveraged social media to grow your brand and awareness around not only your product that you're selling, but you as an individual.
Yeah, so the main thing like I would say is like people when they're starting a business, they're always looking for some way to get their word out or and obviously what's going on in the world at the time in social media with Instagram and Facebook and all these new ways was definitely a younger generation in an innovative way for new businesses to start and grow their business. And being that we are in a creative space, it gave us the ability to basically show the world, you know, you have this social media being the gift and the curse, but using it as the gift to basically put out to the world what you're doing and what you're passionate about. And what we've loved to do is really give a whole raw perspective of what, you know, what we've done to build the business. Really not hold anything back, really not have any edits. I'm sure if you've watched this and you follow us after on our YouTube channel, you'll see Louis, one of my partners, best friends and everything that I grew the business with and started from nothing. We're just two young kids that were in a different industry and followed what we loved, and we saw an opportunity with social media to use it as a platform to, so to speak, as a diving board, jump in the world. And as long as you basically put out, you know, the cars here that make it easy for us, but if you do it in a way that makes it seem real, it's not only motivating people to just get into, let's say, for instance, the car business. I feel with what we do, it gives motivation to younger generations to utilize tools like that to go into any field, whatever it is. And really, it's just taking the blueprint of what we did and using it and applying it to any industry, whether it's, you know, fashion or something that they created on their own in inventions, whether it's a sneaker business, who knows? But in the collectible field, it gave us the ability to connect tremendously with people we'd never speak to on such a social level, you know, in the simplest form, you know, to not be really, into it. But on the toilet, literally, I could be sitting and talking with a collector in California that he made a comment on me and Louis doing a video about a certain model of a car and how they were impacted by that and how they learned by that and how they all of a sudden now want to build a whole collection from that. I mean, it's just pretty crazy how social media has given us the ability to grow so much. And where we have all these other places like DuPont Registry, Car Gurus, the standard forms that like everyone says, this is what you have to do, this is what you should be doing and spend $5,000 a month on. Yeah, right. So I built my whole business backwards, the way I've wanted to build it, my way, not the way the business was built from a normal car dealer perspective. And ultimately, you know, it gives you the ability to just do what you want, how you want to do it, and put it out there, which is great. You know?
Tell your story. We always talk about influencers and professionals, convincing them that they need to be doing more in the creator economy, about brand awareness, and all the great things that you talked about, besides the visual of you sitting on the toilet talking to one of your clients. But is it Instagram? Is it YouTube? Where do you see the greatest impact?
Instagram has, without a doubt, been a tremendous tool. YouTube's been a new vision for us that we've been able to get out and show through video. But in the simplest form with Instagram, it's so instant, and you control it, and you control what you put out there. You control how it's been edited or not edited, or how you want it to display. And it gets literally into somebody's pocket right away or in their face, and they basically have this instant gratification or instant thought like, oh, my friends could like this car, my friend could like this person.
Share.
Ultimately, share. You control what you're putting out, which a lot of these other platforms like, whoever it is, you don't have that control. And ultimately, they are controlling you and what they put out, where this, in my mind, I feel literally that in the future, I'm not going to need any of these outside sources to pay to advertise and market my business. I'm investing in myself and my own market share of what I do, that eventually all I'll need is to have my social media platform to be my calling or my way to get leads in or get customers and not even be an expense. And it's really just a fun way to do it as well, because you're really just being able to engage. Like when I advertise with Auto Trader, people don't always call me and say, "Oh, hey, I just want to talk about your business." They're really calling about the car. It's like a known platform that you're calling to buy something. Instagram, I get messages all the time that kids are writing me, like just motivated about, how I motivated them, how I did something. And these are things that, like, as being at the forefront of like this type of market with the social media, to being able to help, that's one thing that I'm very big in, giving back to the younger generations. I have kids that come in here that want to produce content and make content, and I don't say no to any of them. Anyone that's willing and able to wake up and come and do, I'm all about. And I want to help be a vehicle to help get them to that next level for whatever they want to do. But the control is the main thing, that you have the full control within your fingertips to just do whatever you want, however you want, and gain customers. And it's worked extremely well from us. Instagram, without a doubt, has given us more leads than any paid lead source that I've ever put out in my entire life. It's incredible.
It's
to
an
be honest.
interesting point you make about Auto Trader, and being a car enthusiast myself, as
Right.
you know, I find that Cars.com, Auto Trader, and those platforms, you do have to scroll, right? You sort by car. I'm there because I want to see a car, not a dealership, right? There's no personal connection between any sort of brand dealership.
The closest one is eBay, because you could like send a message and you get an alert. Although Auto Trader you can, but like it goes to an email, and it's like it's just not as personal. Like when you feel like
there's no brand awareness.
There's no brand awareness. It's like
you almost have to do it in the photograph, right? Like I've noticed that certain dealerships have a certain style of taking a picture, and when I see that style of taking a picture, I can tell almost immediately who is doing it. But that's me, consumer, who is constantly looking at cars. That's how I pass the time and trying to, blank out for a moment and meditate, if you will.
Right.
But it's interesting you say that, how the personal connection, the brand awareness that you can create on a social media platform, selling cars versus going on a dedicated platform for selling cars, and how a lack of brand awareness that there may be. And it's an interesting thing for anyone's business strategy when they're selling anything, to think of that when they go to a specific industry dedicated website where they're paying huge fees.
Right.
I mean, what does it cost you to post on Instagram?
If I just did a normal
Just
nothing. If I did no sponsored ads,
Nothing.
it's for free. It's just my time, which is just, instead of me texting my friend, I'm just putting up a post.
The value proposition is off the charts. The advantages that you have to doing it, but you weren't always in the automotive world, and you made a transition, and and I want to quickly touch on it. I mean, at what point did you decide that this is what you want to do?
I was always into cars. I just was always obsessed with cars. In many forms, when I was in my father's business, in the insurance business, I would basically do something always on the side related to cars. And eventually, as the industry changed with insurance, or I was getting to a point older where I had to make a decision if this was going to be my full path of life, I kind of, took a stroke of luck and bought a 1986 Mercedes SL and put it on the side of the road out east in the Hamptons. And within an hour, the car sold. And that just gave me a little bit of motivation just to buy another. And it really just snowballed like that. And mainly my wife, which is the least talked about partner that she deserves the most respect. She's the one. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to be pushed to do this, especially in a time when we were talking about having a baby and buying an apartment. But I basically said, you know what, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I gave up everything. I gave up my friends, I gave up my social life, I gave up partying, I gave up drinking, I gave up, Sunday was Monday, Saturday was Tuesday morning. I just had to make it work, and I wouldn't stop until it did. And then all of a sudden, I just got tapped on the shoulder and was like, can I take a picture with you 5 years, 7 years later? And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm just a guy selling cars. And what the also crazy thing to revert it back to Instagram is think about that. I'm not selling a water bottle. I'm not selling a sweatshirt or something like that. I'm selling something that ranges anywhere from 50 to millions of dollars. You're transacting.
That was my point earlier.
Which is crazy.
It seems,
It's not just your normal influencer that's selling oh, this girl's wearing this T-shirt, and then you click the link and you go to buy that T-shirt.
For your face or cosmetic thing.
All other than real estate, the next thing is vehicles, but real estate doesn't transact as fast as cars do.
The volume of it.
Right. I could do a transaction within the same day, buying a car and selling it, making my profit, transferring title. There's no lawyers involved. There's no accountant. There's no anything. It's the biggest transactional business on social media that can transact in the fastest time through the world. Literally not even the United States. Like I've literally sold cars off of Instagram to people in other countries, which is like, it's mind blowing.
And I highly doubt that those people would be on your other platforms.
Absolutely not.
But because they're on social media and there's certain trends that they're following or other people are following, the influence of
that's
it.
a whole other aspect that like I'm even thinking of that you're bringing it up. Like how simple it is where on Instagram you could just click that see translation button. There's just little features, and I'm sure there's going to be more that are going to come in the future. But like on Auto Trader may not be workable, so to speak, through the UK, or that's why like there's Spot, which is another platform that is more of on the rest of the world. But Instagram, for some reason, it doesn't have this country like dominant. It's a worldly
omni
space.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're able to just be able to do that and connect and like translate easily your conversations if need be and speak and interact in real time from bed, not dressed in a suit, getting ready, and it's.
When's the last time you put on a
crazy.
fucking suit?
I can't remember the last time I put on a suit. I swear to you, the last time you know what the funniest thing is? The last time I put on a suit, I walked downstairs and my daughter was looking at me like I had 10 heads.
Yeah,
she didn't even know who I was.
Because the last time before that was when you got married. But,
Right.
Well, man, it's been awesome to sit down with you.
Thanks on these wonderful
great
tires.
to catch up. Yes, the comfortable seating.
Michelin, thank you, Michelin.
Yes, I appreciate the plug. But we'll have to catch up sometime soon, man. A lot of great advice, a lot of information. It's always awesome to catch up, talk about what's going on in your world, and to come here finally.
Yeah, I'm so glad you made it. Oh my God.
To see your temple that you've built
Right.
for primarily Porsche.
Which this used to be, believe it or not, how you just said primarily Porsche. This building was built as the first Ferrari dealer in Long Island. This was Ferrari of Glen Cove. So to think that this was the mecca of back in the day. There was no cars and coffees, there was no events. It was like Saturday morning, if you wanted a cappuccino and talk about cars, you showed up here. There's a lot of history in this. I walked through this building when I was probably 4 or 5 years old, holding my dad's hand, when his dream was owning a Ferrari. My dream, I didn't even know what a Ferrari was, what the value was, but it was a cool car. And to be able to come back in here, I remember the first time I walked here and pulled the first car in, I was like, it was such an emotional moment. My hair was standing up, I was crying. It was just an unbelievable experience. And to be able to say that where I am now 7 years later with almost 20 employees and selling almost 500 Porsches and cars a year, I'm just so happy to be able to do that. And so happy to be hanging out with my buddy here, doing stuff like this, and being able to continue to grow.
Can't push too hard, you might fall your seat.
We might roll away.
No, well, Ryan, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate your time.
Of course,
Thanks.
of course. Pleasure for coming.